fearless child. You never shy.
Hey, my name is Sappy, and I'm going to be talking about Caitlyn Kiramman, a character from Arcane that I think is really interesting. Arcane has a lot of different characters and stories behind them with amazing developments, but I think her story is really intriguing in the way she changes from the beginning to the end. She goes from a confident and empathetic young woman to a conflicted general of war. Season 1 Caitlyn and Season 2 Caitlyn are two completely different people, and I'll be explaining that. I like to discuss, so if you agree or disagree with anything I say, just let me know in the comments. Caitlyn was born of status and belonged to one of the richest families in the city of Piltover, known as the Kirammans. She was working as an apprentice to Jace before he got robbed by our main crew, and we could see how passionate and headstrong she is about her work and her goals. From a young age, we can see that she believes in what she thinks is right, as we see that she's passionate about defending Jace from what happened.
Jace had nothing to do with that, he was robbed. We need to help him.
Her parents and status always kept her a little bit naive to the other side of Piltover, which was Zaun, but regardless of that, she still wanted to know what was going on in the world around her. She becomes an enforcer to see more of what the world was like, but her mother was always making sure that she wasn't doing anything dangerous and had her on patrols close by, since her mother was on the council and had that power. Regardless of this, she went on her own endeavors to solve crimes that she heard about, and we see that she has a passion for justice. One night, an attack that was close to home left her wounded, and a few of her comrades died because of it. We the audience know that Jinx caused this, and she stole a gemstone from Jace's workshop, but this drives Caitlyn's sense of justice even further as she was a part of this attack.
Shouldn't you be resting?
While the trail is hot. Listen.
And after that, she starts restlessly trying to find answers on who caused this and why. Because of the attack, her mother had her removed from the enforcers for her safety. But one of the crimes that Caitlyn was investigating earlier led her to Stillwater Prison, where she ultimately still pretended to be one anyway. And she used her privileges to get out of disobeying orders and also freeing Vi from that same prison.
I've got orders from Councillor Tallis concerning inmate 516.
From early on, we see that she has this drive for crime solving and to do what's right, and that she'll use all of her privileges to achieve these things. Her sense of justice leads her to freeing Vi, who showed her what the undercity of Zaun was really like. She also took a liking to Vi and had empathy for the people of Zaun after she spent a little time there.
It's beautiful.
She saw the joys of it and also how terrible it can be as well, but her status and upbringing made her naive to all of this around her, and she believes her people have done nothing wrong.
That's not possible. You're wrong. She believes what she's saying, okay? She's not your enemy.
And after her and Vi confront Jinx and learn that she's behind the attacks, she still has empathy for the people of Zaun and realize that Jinx's actions derive off of Silco's and not the Undercity as a whole. And this strikes even deeper with her after she meets Echo and sees the life that he's protecting down there, and how they're not on Silco's side either. After returning home, she's able to passionately state how life isn't fair for the people of the Undercity, and she wanted a chance to speak to the council about them and Silco.
She was doing what she thought was right.
You know what else reflects on the council? It's citizens living on the streets, being poisoned, having to choose between a kingpin who wants to exploit them and a government that doesn't give a shit.
And yet again, her privilege and her being a Kiramman allows her to be heard.
I'll schedule an audience.
Thank you.
And she's able to get a meeting with the council. She's able to bring Vi with her and let the council know of the crime lords in the Undercity and what's been going on and how Jinx and Silco are behind it all. But since Jinx stole the gemstone, the council, Vi, and Caitlyn are all at differences on how to approach this situation, and this causes a disconnect between Vi and Caitlyn for a while. This leaves her really conflicted on what to do next for the people of Zaun because she still wants to help, but all of this changes after she gets captured by Jinx in the last episode of Season 1. Jinx starts holding Caitlyn hostage so Vi can kill her. Caitlyn was already at a little bit of odds ever since finding out that Jinx was Vi's sister.
Your sister is Jinx.
And being caught by Jinx makes her feel worse towards her now. She's able to break free and get her machine gun aimed on Jinx. And even though she claims Jinx to be too far gone, she still spares her and listens to Vi when she asks her not to kill her.
No. Please.
She's hesitant to kill, but that changes in Season 2. But this is the last bit of empathy that we're gonna see from Caitlyn for a while. Caitlyn gets overpowered, and then Jinx tries to shoot Caitlyn, but is interrupted by Silco as he tries to shoot Vi, ultimately sparing Caitlyn's life. Silco died because of this, but it made Jinx angry enough to pretty much start war. She walks outside and fires a rocket right towards the council member's office, and her mother, being a council member, was in there when the rocket was launched. And Caitlyn watched as it traveled all the way there to kill her mother, while they were having the meeting that was discussing to make peace with with the undercity and topside. And at the very start of season 2, we see how this changed her completely. She's filled with grief and guilt, and now she's just completely conflicted on Vi, since she's the sister of the person that just killed her mother.
I thought you were on our side.
She even acknowledges the fact that she had the opportunity to take out Jinx, but she didn't take it.
I had the shot.
And because of this, she starts to blame herself, and it deepens the reasons for her change. And on top of all of this, her father gives her the Kiramman key, which is a big responsibility to have, making the emotions that she's feeling even stronger and more pressured than she ever was before. She now has to fill the shoes of her mother while she's also grieving. We start to see Caitlyn get a lot more of a serious attitude and having an active goal to stop Jinx.
But then there's Jinx laughing. I want to tear that laugh from her throat forever.
Because of Vi's love for Jinx, Caitlyn really wanted to ensure that Vi wouldn't advocate for Jinx again by having her join the Enforcers, but Vi refused. During the memorial of her mother and other counselors, they were attacked by criminals of Zaun, and after everything settled, we see her dive deeper into an emotional and anger-driven way of thinking.
A memorial? What kind of animals?
She says that the people of Zaun have no boundaries and that they're animals for what they did, and displays a lot of frustration on her mom being gone on top of this, so she feels like she's not living up to her name.
Well, I don't know how, okay? She dies and leaves this giant hole and I'm just supposed to fill it. All they did is piss me off.
Because of this attack, it changes Caitlyn completely, and she wants to take out the problem directly at the source. To avoid war, she assembles the team and is no longer polite to the council, and addresses them all condescendingly, with a plan to end the threats to Piltover once and for all.
I am a decorated officer, leader of House Kiramman. Address me with respect, or keep your mouth shut. I will lead a strike team into Zaun with 3 objectives. Locate Jinx, dismantle Shimmer, and neutralize any agents still loyal to Silco.
After some thinking, Vi joins Caitlyn's strike team as they go to locate Jinx. And here we see a different Caitlyn, and she isn't being completely immoral, but we see her take a huge step down from being peaceful to doing things by force, even if they're questionable. She learns that the Kirammans created ventilation shafts for the people of the Undercity to have fresh air, but she used it against the areas of crime to complete her task of dismantling Shimmer and neutralizing anybody still close to Silco. We're clearly shown how Caitlyn is being somewhat oppressive, as this montage depicts that. They're gassing the streets, they're masked up, and applying force where necessary. And they're obviously pushing the fact that Caitlyn is being a little bit extra. After they interrogate one person, Caitlyn shows no mercy and is making sure everyone they come across gets life in prison.
Cuff him.
Hi! I told you everything I know!
You're a confessed criminal. You'll spend your retirement in a cell.
Vi notices this change in Caitlyn and pulls her aside to talk about it, but Caitlyn turns it around because she's still unsure if Vi is ready to take down Jinx, since they're sisters. They kiss soon after that, and I think that this was Caitlyn's reassurance that Vi wasn't gonna fold when it came to Jinx again, because what happened at the end of season 1 left her completely uneasy, and knowing that she has a soft spot for Jinx gets to Caitlyn, but at the same time, Vi's the only person keeping Caitlyn kind of morally grounded. Of course, Vi wouldn't have joined Caitlyn if they were hurting innocent people. After they have a talk, they leave on their own to go find Jinx. Once they finally find her, Vi tells Caitlyn to not hesitate and take the shot on Jinx when she has it. So after Vi beats Jinx, Caitlyn takes that shot but takes off her finger first. Then Vi subdues her again but is stopped by Isha. Just recently, Vi had just seen a child die from war when she was with Jace and hesitates to take out Jinx again. However, Caitlyn isn't going for this again and doesn't want to let Jinx get away, and she yells at Vi to move because she wants to take the shot anyway regardless that Isha and Vi were in the way.
Move! She's not getting away again.
She shot right past Vi, hitting her, and then she tries to shoot again, but Vi stops her, thinking that she'd hurt the child and Jinx. The area blows up, trapping Caitlyn and Vi outside, and it left Caitlyn really frustrated because Jinx was able to escape again. But this was Caitlyn's final straw with Vi, because this would have been the 3rd time that Vi stopped Caitlyn from stopping Jinx.
I keep telling myself that you're different, but you're not.
She hits her and leaves Vi by herself to continue on her own, and Caitlyn now lost the only person that was keeping her morally grounded. After they failed to capture her, the council have a meeting on their next move in the war, and they gave Ambessa, an experienced war veteran, the power to help lead the war, and also the power to appoint a new general for this war.
Caitlyn Kiramman.
She chooses none other than Caitlyn to be general, and she's very surprised and hesitant at first, but ultimately she accepts the position. And this is the worst thing for Caitlyn's mindset, because she's already on an moral quest of vengeance, while also getting appointed to a high military status, and on top of all that, having an experienced manipulative warlord mentor her. That concludes the end of Act 1. And Act 2 opens up with a montage showing how Caitlyn fully assumed her role. She had checkpoints set up and full enforcer occupation all over the city of Zaun. Her and Ambessa pretty much declared martial law. Many months pass and we see her speaking with Maddie, her new partner, and she's full of doubt about the whole situation. and the things she's doing to find Jinx. But regardless, she still fully trusts Ambessa and believes that all of this is necessary. But she doesn't know that Ambessa was fueling this fire, and that she was the one that staged the attack on the memorial to get Caitlyn even more determined and driven. However, Ambessa's forces take it too far one day, and it leaves Caitlyn wondering where they draw the line on what is right and wrong. She's starting to doubt what Ambessa is really fighting for, and this grows tension between them because she believes the violence is justified, and also remind Caitlyn of what happened to her mother and the pain that they felt from it.
You don't trust me.
The blade cuts both ways.
Arrests require cause.
What greater cause is there than returning peace to this city?
Why is peace always the justification for violence?
Caitlyn seems reassured, but there's tension rising between them. And this is where we see Caitlyn at her worst before her moral compass starts having a bit of a comeback. Many months pass, and Caitlyn is very used to being in a war at this point, and she's also very tired of it, and we see her patience running thin. There is a scientist that created a beast named Warwick, and Ambessa showed a lot of interest in it, and it caused a lot of bloodshed. Once Caitlyn finds this scientist, she's nothing but fed up with the criminals of Zaun. She interrogates him to find out how Jinx was connected to this attack, and guarantees that he'll spend the rest of his life locked somewhere devoid of fresh air and basic needs if he doesn't comply. He doesn't at the moment, and Caitlyn leaves him there.
You will rot in here.
But Ambessa returns to recruit him. Caitlyn does more research on that scientist, and she finds out that he was also the one that created Shimmer, the drug that's running rampant in the Undercity. When she finds Ambessa and him in his lab, she's ready to put an end to him.
You're a monster. Why? Why do all this?
And even though we may agree with this decision, she completely changed and was ready to take a life. But he was the cause of a lot of terrible things. But this is a complete flip from the Caitlyn that we saw in season 1. But some of the empathy that she was missing for a while comes back when she finds out that he's been doing all of this to save his daughter. He needed Shimmer and Warwick to save his daughter, so Caitlyn spares him off that fact alone. And it's interesting because although she's been pushed by vengeance, she can give herself a moment of empathy, even for a man like the scientist. Ambessa recruiting this scientist also created more tension between her and Caitlyn, having Caitlyn realize that she just wanted Warwick as a weapon to use against the people of Zaun, which goes against her core principles. Once they arrive to where the beast is, Caitlyn sees how they're peaceful people, and that Ambessa is not for a peaceful approach at all. She luckily runs into Vi, who tells her that the beast is her father, and that she's trying to save him. With the doubt and tension that she already had towards Ambessa, and her having a soft spot for Vi, she decides to betray Ambessa and help save Warwick. In the midst of this betrayal, she was about to be killed by Rictus, but she was saved by Jinx, the same person that she's been hunting this entire time, conflicting her emotions towards her even more.
You!
And Act 2 ends with the betrayal of Ambessa and the start of Caitlyn's moral return. She teams up with Jinx and Vi to fight, and we know how this ends. After this fight, they return home, and Vi wakes up to realize that Caitlyn had Jinx locked up. Over the last few months, all of Caitlyn's efforts have been to eliminate Jinx, calling in martial law, ready to shoot through Vi and Isha, but now she realizes that those were mistakes, and that she changed in the pursuit of vengeance.
How long were you sidled up with that shifty, self-serving war pig? She oinked poison in your ear and you just ate it.
I know!
She shows frustration with herself for allowing Ambessa to compromise her principles. The same Caitlyn that didn't want war back then
There are good people down there.
was now realizing she's the general of it all. Vi was frustrated about this since Jinx saved her, and she says this to Caitlyn.
Who decides who gets a second chance?
And it really leaves Caitlyn wondering. Regardless of her status, Caitlyn still wants to take full responsibility for the things that she's done to get to Jinx. So she goes to confront Jinx in her cell. Caitlyn finally caught the person that was the reason that she abandoned her principles, and the person that killed her mother. Yet she isn't exactly happy about it.
What
She
you
tells
came
Jinx
here
how
to
nothing
do.
can erase both of their mistakes, and her hating Jinx made her hate herself.
Hating you? I've hated myself. I just don't have the energy for it any longer.
And regardless that all of this was Jinx's fault, Caitlyn isn't blaming just her. She's blaming herself as well, and gives Jinx the opportunity to atone for what she did, but Jinx was too defeated. And even though she does this, Caitlyn wasn't able to exactly forgive her, but she was able to let it go. Caitlyn leaves her there, but we later find out that she had all of the guards dismissed so that Vi could purposely come and free Jinx later on. She pretty much freed her without freeing her. Throughout the entirety of Season 2, we barely saw Caitlyn show any other expression other than anger and determination. But now with Vi back, her letting go of revenge, and them doing the hoo-ha, she can finally somewhat have a smile again, and gain back the attitude that we saw during the first season. Those barricades that she had up are now officially gone. And in the final episode of Season 2, we see it all unfold. Caitlyn is now more of a leader than she's ever been, and leading the defenses against the Noxians' attack, and really displaying everything that she's learned throughout the series. She's only defeated at the moment because of Maddie's betrayal. A fellow enforcer that she trusted, but she gets saved by Mel, and also freeing Jinx allowed her to gain the trust and help from the people of Zaun to save her from the situation. And this is where Jinx comes in to even the playing field, and you can see on Caitlyn's face that she's very annoyed. The person she's been hunting this whole series is now the one saving her for the second time. And here, this is where we see Caitlyn at her most developed. She's no longer afraid. She slaps Ambessa and encourages her to fight her.
Shut up and fight!
Even though that it's clear in a fair fight Ambessa would destroy Caitlyn, she still fights regardless, and if Mel wasn't there, Caitlyn would have died from the first hit. This battle ends with Caitlyn remembering what Ambessa told her a couple episodes before.
I've discovered a fourth principle: sacrifice.
And in this case, she sacrifices her eye so that Mel can deal the final blow on Ambessa. And from here on out, we see the conclusions of everyone's story. Caitlyn has finally learned to let go, succeeded in combining the undercity and topside into one, and helped Piltover be a great city again. Her and Vi are moving on, but let's wrap up Caitlyn in general. I think the main theme the writers wanted to portray with Caitlyn is moral dilemmas. A lot of revenge stories usually follow this theme as well, showing how certain means can justify certain ends in certain characters. Caitlyn gassing Zaunites to find Jinx, helping Ambessa find weapons, and calling in martial law all took stabs at her principles, but she was able to make a comeback and help when it really mattered. Her whole character is revolved around justice and always wanting to do what's right. I thought Caitlyn was a really cool character, so I made this little analysis as appreciation for her character and the show. But if you agreed or disagreed with anything I said, or have anything to add, just let me know in the comments, and leaving a like and subscribing would be really helpful. And thank you so much for watching.